What is going on, everybody? Welcome to your Philadelphia Phillies 2023 season outlook preview show. I'm your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my co-host, George. You can find him on Twitter at _George Ryder as we stream to you guys live through DSM Media's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter channels. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. While you're over on the channel, make sure you check out the link tree in our bio. It'll take you to every social media platform we are available on. If you guys want to be interactive throughout tonight's show, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Turn on notifications. It is the best spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up on the screen. My man, opening day is less than 24 hours away. First pitch, less than 23 hours away. How are you feeling for this upcoming Philly season?
Ecstatic. I cannot wait. And counting down the hours, the minutes this whole week. So ready.
Very seconds, ready. The dollars I'm going to spend.
I'm ready to get back. I'm ready to be in that stadium.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot going on. Obviously, we're coming off of a World Series loss. We're coming off of an MLS Cup loss. We're coming off of a Super Bowl loss. It's March Madness, Final Four this weekend. There's a lot going on, but there really is, at least for like me, and I'm sure with you, you have to be kind of like a baseball fan. You probably had to play the sport growing up. I don't know how you feel personally, but there's a different feeling. It's like when football season starts and it's that fall weather and you go outside and it smells like football season. It's the same thing in the spring with baseball season, and you walk into Citizens Bank Park for the first time and it's just back, and opening day is one of the best days in the entire year. But I just got off a show talking about these same questions, these same topics with Paul Hembekides from ESPN's Get Up. So obviously I'll join the conversation, but we are going to let George, aka Jeff Passan Ryder, take over this show, man. So let's start with the negative here on this Phillies season. Okay. Obviously a week before opening day, first baseman Rhys Hoskins blows out his knee, tears his ACL, and is done for the year. How big of a loss is this for the Phillies?
1 to 10 wise, I'm going 6. And that's not including clubhouse leadership and him being Mr. Phillies. You know, he's been here through everything, through the dumps. 2017, like he was the one bright spot in the season. It's like, oh, we got a guy, Rhys Hoskins. I feel like a lot of people kind of wanted Rhys gone. I don't know. I don't think it's majority. I think it's a lot of people that saw the defensive blunders. They got really mad that he really shouldn't. You look at him on the playoff field defensively, and it's like, this guy should not be here. We're going to see Rhys's true value when we watch Derek Hall. Like I'm not shitting on Derek Hall whatsoever. I think he's going to be serviceable. I think the power's there. I think there's a lot of bright spots, and spring training, like he looked pretty good pitching from both sides. So
hit a walk-off in the last spring training game.
Did do that as well. So I'm not a hater of Derek Hall. I think he'll be very serviceable. I think the power's there. I just think Rhys Hoskins brings a much certain aspect to the clubhouse and just the lineup. I mean, what's that, 32 homers last year around there, and I don't know if Derek's gonna give you that. He could. 5 of his home runs last year were off position players, so take that into account out of the 11s. It's a 6 to me. It sucks. It truly sucks. We'll see how Derek Hall does, and then you can always trade for a first baseman. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm at the same level as you from a fan perspective, and just wanting to see this team fully healthy, this lineup fully healthy. It hurts, right? Like you bring over Trey Turner, you add him to this lineup, and you just want to see what this thing, run it back from last year and add that big piece to it and see what it looks like. We don't get that opportunity now. Not just that, Rhys's final year most likely in Philadelphia, so he could no longer. He might have played his last game already in this city. We'll see when the time comes, but I agree with you. I mean, it's going to be tough to replace 30+ home runs. That's the bottom line. And you mentioned the leadership in the clubhouse and all of that. I trust Rob Thompson enough to make the adjustments day to day. I do think he has to give Derek Hall at bats against lefties. I do not think it is as simple as Hall versus righties, Bowman, Sosa versus lefties. I really don't think it's that simple. He worked with Kevin Long all offseason long. He worked on his left-handed approach. And you mentioned the one thing that Derek Hall can do, right, is hit for power, and he's done it at this level. So is he going to give you 30 home runs? Probably not. I think Derek Hall can probably give you 20, a little over 20, right? If he plays, frequently. So we'll see. I don't think it's not a blow, right? It's not Bryce out for the year. It's not Trey. It's not JT. It's not Schwarber. It's not Nola. It's not Wheeler. So to me, in terms of like pain scale, this is like number 9 for players you cannot lose. It still hurts to see Reese go down for the year. Let's move on to the next guy who is still not going to be on the roster opening day, but things are ramping up. George, Dave Dombrowski does not place Bryce Harper on the 60-day injured list. That cutoff is May 29th. Now, when Bryce had the surgery done, it was rumored and reported that he would most likely be back around when? The All-Star break. That is middle of July. I have hope. I have faith that Dave Dombrowski is a realistic person. He's not doing this off of a hope and a whim and just, oh, I hope Bryce is back by the beginning of June. I think there's something more to this. I think Bryce Harper comes back by the beginning of June and has one hell of a season. What are your expectations for a healthy Bryce Harper this year?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think he'll be back early June, if not mid-June, and it really depends on if he gets off.
More baseball he's playing.
Oh, that's a big amount of baseball, and I guess it depends if he gets off to a hot start, but he's going to be completely fine, dude. He's going to hit over 20 home runs. Like, I truly believe that. If he's back in early June, he's hitting 20 home runs. There's no doubt in my mind about it. It's Bryce Harper. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you can say whatever you want to say stat-wise and all. It's all clear. At Bryce Harper, all he does, he just rips the ball, man. And don't expect him in the field this year. I don't expect him in the field at all, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't expect it playoff-wise. We'll see. We'll see how he is, but right now it's all focused on swinging. And if he's focusing on just batting, we saw like he did last year, he's a freaking animal. And he's a top 3 pure hitter in the game. So there's nothing in my mind that is swaying me from thinking Bryce Harper is going to have an incredible year no matter what.
Hembo brought up a very interesting point to me a couple of minutes ago about this Bryce situation. And it's the fact that last year you saw Bryce become more of a patient hitter, more of a complete hitter, and taking what's given to him and not forcing the pop, right? Not forcing the power numbers, but he's still going to get a ton of them regardless. This injury, as Hembo said, allowed Bryce to strengthen and work on his lower body. Now, where's his power?
Never even thought about that.
So not only does he not have to force the pop anymore, he's still going to get it a little more frequently than he would have last year or before because he had the elbow injury. You work on what? Your lower half with that upper body injury. So it's going to be interesting when Bryce returns, man.
Never even thought about that. That's a great point.
Great point by Hembo, man.
And it's the 60-day IL thing is just incredible. When I saw that, you kind of expect him to come back in June.
Because you know what else it does? It not only pushes up that timeline, hopefully, knock on wood, right? It gives you that cap, that 60-day number, you know how long he's going to be out at that point. Now there's some unknown to it where he can start ramping up hitting and he can start ramping up fielding and throwing and tossing and doing all this stuff. And you're like, oh shit, maybe he's back next week when we get to that point in time, right? So it'll be interesting to track Bryce's return, man.
Yeah, I'm swinging off a tee right now, like that.
Yes, every day, right? And he has not had any uncomfort. Like he's been fine. He's been completely comfortable day to day, and he hasn't had to take a day off or a day's rest because there's been some irritability to it. So, with that said, let's move on, man. Who is your X factor this year? There's a couple routes you can go, right? I talked to Connor Thomas the other day. He gave me his obvious one because it's who's going to have to carry the load, and that is the best player on this team, in his opinion, Trey Turner. I just talked to Hembo. He gave me Nick Castellanos. I don't know if you saw mine, so I'll wait to give you mine. Who is your X factor for this Phillies team this year?
I think it's an easy answer, and it might be a chalk answer, but it's Nick Castellanos. Okay. I mean, in my opinion, when you have Reese in this lineup, and we were looking at it like a week ago, whatever, we were looking at this lineup, Nick Castellanos, a bounce back year, is just kind of like another sprinkle in just this amazing lineup. Right. It's another little like planet seed in the
cherry on top, right?
Exactly, cherry on top. Now you need Nick Castellanos to bounce back. I mean, he's going to be batting 5th most likely, I assume, and like there's no way around it. Nick Castellanos. Oh, okay. Oh, listen, 5. Whatever.
I wouldn't be surprised if Topper gives him that little pat on the ass, a vote of confidence, and puts him at the 4 hole.
See, I also like that because he seems like a confidence guy. Like he seems like a guy where it's like
Up here, brother. Up here.
exactly all mental. It's Nick for me. If he doesn't bounce back, him getting paid 20 million a year, $100 million man. If he performs like he did last year, we have a lot of fucking problems. We have a lot of problems. That means that old Nick Castellanos isn't coming back. And this year, we really, really could use it, Nick Castellanos as of old. Like we just could.
Absolutely. Not to mention, after his signing last year, he automatically became my second favorite Philly behind Bryce. Now the addition, he's probably still top 5 for me. I love the personality and I love the toughness. I want him to succeed so bad here, man. And whether he was injured and the move and the baby stuff and the contract, it all got to him. And I hope he can bounce back. His plate discipline has looked great this spring. He has not hit for the slash lines, not pop off the paper at you. But his eyes and his plate discipline and decision-making have been a lot better. Now, listen, that's probably the correct answer, right? Like that is where I was going to go. I want to give you an alternate response though. And I'm going with the number 3 man in this rotation. And I'm going with Taijuan Walker because for 2 reasons. A, you look at the top of the rotation, Wheeler, Nola. You do not want them throwing as many innings and having to play as many meaningful moments as they did last year because you saw what fatigue looks like when it sets in come World Series time. B, you already have injuries at the bottom end of this rotation. You're minus Ranger and Painter day 1, which means guess what? Walker has to step up from the jump this season for the Phillies. I think he's going to have a sub-4 ERA. I hope so. He better. And he's going to have to play meaningful moments in meaningful games this year for the Phillies and come August and September time. Taijuan Walker was my answer, just to be a little different outside the box, but
it's also right. It is the right answer. Like that is completely true. Everything you said is 100% true.
All right, man, let's get into some fun but heart-wrenching talk here, right? So let's start the positive.
All right.
Who takes the biggest leap forward? Who production-wise takes a jump this year for the Phillies?
You know, I wanted to say Bohm, but you look at the jump he made last year, and it was huge, and we saw it. So I'm not picking
the muscle, bro.
The muscle, 15 pounds. I'm taking Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott, 466 plate appearances.
I don't even say any word.
There we go. He slashed 234, 295 on base. He had a 653 OPS with 10 home runs. The one thing about Stott, the beginning of last year was so funky, and we all know that. Like Joe Girardi hates the young kids. We all know that. Screw that guy.
It's a
daycare. He gets to play at his natural position the entire season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He is the starter. What's up, Scotty? He doesn't. The one thing about him, he's going to hit for average. Like he should be able to hit for average. He doesn't miss balls. He's the one guy in the lineup that when he swings, he's swinging at good pitches and he's getting contact. We saw the freaking playoff game, the 10 pitch at bat that resulted in an RBI double to take the lead off Strider. It's like
Strider.
It's things like that. It's keeping at bats alive, which is another reason why we're gonna miss Reese. He churns out at bats. I'm so high on Stott this year. I'm very excited to see him at second base the full season, defensively, all around, not even on offense. Defensively, offensively, I think he's going to get his average up. I even think he'll get his on base up. I mean, 295. I think we'll see him get over 300. And man, I mean, I love Bryson. Hopefully, he can get more than 10 homers. That'd be awesome. But he's not a power guy, so I'm not expecting much.
So I share the same answer, and Hembo shares the same answer as well. And Hembo brought the same point that you just mentioned. He doesn't miss balls, as Hembo mentioned. I brought up the postseason reps. I think that's important, especially in a young player. But to me, it's the rhythm, it's the routine, it's the comfortability for this kid. You go back to last year, George. He was your opening day starting third baseman under Joe Girardi. When things went bad, he was pulled right out of the lineup. Then he was put back in. Then he was sent down. Then he was called up. Didi Gregorius was playing next to him. You don't have that anymore. Under Topper, he is your everyday second baseman outside of rest days. He's playing next to Trey Turner up the middle. He's going to be between the 7 and 9 hole, probably your 8 hole hitter right now for Bryson Stott. And he knows that day in and day out where he is in the lineup card, where he is on the diamond. and he's going to have consistent play. I think the kid continues to grow. He was Bryce's roommate, bro. He's little Bryce, right?
Vegas
So
boys.
he's got to continue to grow here. Let's get a little. I don't even want to use the word negative, but my answer hurt me. It pained me to give this answer.
We might have the same
Which
answer.
Philly is going to take the biggest step back this season, production wise?
All right, this one was really hard. This one really was hard, but I think the answer is kind of clear when you're asking, because you look at this lineup, you're like, I don't know who the hell is going to take a step. You saw these guys in the playoffs. Like, I think it's Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Only because, listen, 46 home runs is absurd. Like, leading the
It's just
National
not
League.
reasonable. It's to expect it
That's
again.
the thing. Like, I'll give him 40, and even if that maybe, yeah. And the only reason is because that man just the average, and you look at the average, what was it? 218 last year. If his home runs diminish by, say it's like 38, you're gonna see it. Like you're gonna tell in the production that it's a little off. The average has to come up if the home runs.
Now maybe the shift helps with that, just to tweak it a
100%.
little bit, right?
That's the thing. Some of those line drives, right? Like some of those hard hit balls might get through in the infield. It's like
here's the bottom line.
That's
everybody. You're going to continue to see Schwarbombs this year. He's still going to be an exciting player to watch. If they make the postseason again, God willing, knock on wood, he's going to be a tough ass out in the postseason. He's their man, right? He's not going to be your leadoff hitter anymore. And I know 1 to 2 doesn't sound like a big difference. He's going to see less at bats. He's going to see less pitches. Okay, that's step one. And to George's point, and it's what I brought up to Hembo, and Hembo shared the same thing right back to me a couple minutes ago. He is not going to hit 46 home runs again. It's just not reasonable to expect that. Maybe he does. I don't know. I don't foresee it. And if you take away those power numbers and you add that with the sub 220 average, with not a great on-base percentage, with a guy that strikes out a lot, the fans you're going to notice a lot more. So to say he takes the biggest step back, it sounds negative. I'm not saying he's a negative in this lineup. I'm not saying we're going to be getting on him and it's not going to be the same Kyle Schwarber. No. But he, production-wise, number-wise, those power numbers are going to come down, so that average needs to tick up. 240? 245? Is that?
That would be incredible. That would
36 home runs, hitting just under 250, 240. Like, that's the Kyle Schwarber, like, that you would need to not have a noticeable dip in production this year.
Yep, 100%. I agree. I mean,
next one.
Okay.
Your boy.
My boy.
Andrew Painter.
Oh, that is my boy.
Injury concerns already.
Yeah.
What's on the docket for Andrew Painter in 2023?
If he is getting reps in the majors, whether it is as an opener, whether they are pushing him as a full starter, I don't know what they want to do. He's going to be effective. He's going to be an effective guy only because the stuff is undeniable. I mean, like this kid is 6'7". The arm slot is legit perfect. He's pumping 98 with ease. You saw him the first spring training game. He goes out there from the jump. He's throwing 98. His delivery is perfect. His command's perfect. I hyped this kid up a lot. It's for good reason.
You love him. George wants his jersey. That's the next jersey on George's list.
That's the next jersey. I mean, come on. We already got the tray. That's the point blank nothing. This stuff is undeniable. He pumps 98 fastball. He pumps movement. The curveball is ridiculous. If the kid is healthy and he's in the major leagues, he's going to be effective. I had him I had him on my rookie of the year bet slip. I bet him, and then this happened.
You get your refund?
No refunds there. I'm over the moon confident about Andrew Painter. I hope everything goes well. It heals up fast. I am very, very excited.
I think they're going to handle him with kid gloves. That's the problem.
I don't think so. Too.
Well, I think even if he comes back healthy, there's a chance he's just used as an opener, as you mentioned, pitched 3 innings maybe. There's a chance even if they use him as a starter, he's not throwing every 5 days and Falter still gets work. So I do think you're going to see flashes from Andrew Painter this year throughout the summer. I do think that you're going to see the hype. And I do think he wins the Phillies a game or two here and there with his arm if he has the chance. I don't think the volume is going to be there enough to really affect the season, if that makes sense, right? No. I will say, though, I need Matt Strahm back in. So Ranger, you hurry your ass up because the bullpen looks a lot better with the lefty Strahm back there again, whereas he's a fifth starter with Bailey Falter. So
Yep.
I need that fixed.
I don't know if you have seen him as a starter before, but not good.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm all in on the Matt Strahm bullpen piece.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about that. So I'm not going to ask you the question that me and Hembo went over, but bullpen specifically, additions, Matt Strahm, like we just mentioned, Craig Kimbrell, Gregory Soto, all-star, right? You add them to Jose Alvarado, Sir Anthony Dominguez, you still have Connor Brogdon, Andrew Bellotti, those front-end kind of guys. I'm higher on it than Hembo. He was a little down on it. Just, I guess, the hype, right? Because there is a lot of hype about this bullpen.
Yeah.
What's your view on the additions and what this bullpen can be?
I love them. I think we're better than last year. I think it's true. I mean, you look at Soto, it's like Alvarado 2.0, which can be really, really good, but can also
Or
result
really
in
scary.
guys on base. I mean, the one thing about this bullpen is they're gonna walk guys. We're gonna get very scared at points, but they're gonna be very effective. If I had to rank like the 4 units like you guys were doing, I had bullpen second, like maybe
Okay.
third, but I had him second. I love the bullpen. The additions I think were perfect. Matt Strahm, like I was so excited to get Matt Strahm. I'm very, very ready for him to be back in the bullpen. But yeah, I am very high in this bullpen. I think you got flamethrowers in there, and I think you got guys that 7, 8, 9. You can put multiple guys out there, and it doesn't like they're not
So
set positions for these guys. I
I
love it.
agree, but they are creatures of habit. And I look at a
Sure.
guy like Craig Kimbrell specifically, and I look
Yeah,
at Sir Anthony Dominguez. Is Kimbrell your closer to start the year? Because I think I saw his splits in a year or 2 years ago from closer and setup. And closer numbers are a lot better than setup Craig Kimbrell numbers. And Sir
yes.
Anthony, as we know, closed games for the Phillies in the postseason run. We also had Zach Eflin doing it. You had Alvarado doing it. I'm more in favor of Sir Anthony 8, Kimbrell 9 to start. Maybe Kimbrell is washed. Maybe he's got nothing left. But he's been around the block.
Yep.
He would he
No,
be your closer to start?
I'm 100% with you there. I think I'd go Sir Anthony 8 as a setup and Kimbrel 9. I don't think it's going to be like that like consistently, but I think to trot out the first series, that's what
Right.
we're going to
And
see.
if it
I
works,
100% agree
maybe
with
you
you.
roll with it for a while.
That's exactly what it is. If Kimbrel's working and the setup role is working for Sir Anthony, whoever you want to put
Right.
there, they're gonna keep going with it. Like that's just what's gonna happen. And maybe Kimbrel does solidify himself as the closer of
You
this team. You never know, but I agree with you 100%.
you try like the Corey Knable experience, but hope
Yeah.
that it works this time. They gave Knable the
Yeah.
opportunity to be the closer last year. That's what they did.
Yep.
Didn't work.
It was a different guy. It was Girardi, but I 100% agree. I think Thompson's going to do the same thing. I think that we're going to see Kimbrel in the beginning be the closer, and if it is consistently working, then we're going to see him there consistently, and then we
I
just play
am
by
with
ear.
you. George, if
Still,
this team misses the postseason, what is the reason why?
I got a good answer. I think injuries.
Yes.
Is that what you said? Is that what you said? It's
Health.
injury still. If this team doesn't make the postseason,
Yeah.
and this is a season from hell, and we have 3 guys in our like key unit to just drop. Like I don't see a scenario where this team right now misses the playoffs unless we just go through a barrel of horrible injuries throughout the season that just derail us. That is the only way I can see us missing the postseason. That's it.
They're too talented. That's the bottom line.
You're
So
talented. Yeah.
unless, and it can come in multiple ways, right? If you lost, God forbid, the shiny new toy in Trey Turner for the year, if you lost Bryce for the entire year and not a month and a half, if you lost Nola or Wheeler, we have issues.
Big issues. Big issues. Yep.
That's why the Reese injury is like a 5 or 6 on the scale, and instead of a 9 or a 10, right? So
Yeah,
we'll
Reese was
see, man. I agree with you 100%. They're too damn talented to just bottom out, right? So we will see. All right, let's get into your regular season predictions, and then give me your early playoff projection. What's the ceiling?
We're winning 91 games. give or take. I think we
I
break
mean, I
the
guess
90.
I'm a bigger fan than you. I have 92, but whatever.
Oh, yeah, you're just a homer. Come on.
Yeah.
They're breaking 90 this year, Dill. They're breaking
Yeah.
90 this year.
I think the
I had
total's at what, 89 and a half?
88 and a half.
88 and a half. Well, dude, they won 87 last year.
I know. That's
I'm
I
sorry.
took
Like,
some processing in my mind. So and the new league play the division less, play other teams more. It's a lot of factors into it, but I haven't breaking 90. I think they win 91 to maybe 94.
mhm,
They come in third place of the division, sadly.
mhm.
This division is really freaking good. And
But they come in third, but
all right, yeah, they come in third, but the goal is always the goal. They're winning the fucking World Series.
oh
Listen,
my god.
they
Oh
are
my god.
going to the World Series and winning it.
That's not where I was going with
The
it.
goal has always been the goal, Dale. I think you're thinking wild card. We don't get the third wild card.
No,
No.
we're not going to get the third. Listen,
Up
time
there.
out. Flag on the play. Pause. They have a good chance to make and win the World Series as anybody. Okay, I'm
Oh,
throwing that out there. That is the ceiling. It is a chance to win the World Series. They are right up there with the Braves. They are right up there with the Padres, the Dodgers. Notice how I didn't say the Mets because regular season. My point was that I believe they come in third too. They have a chance to come in first or second.
for sure.
I believe they come in third. I think the Mets and the Braves win either close or over 100. Right. I think the Phillies at that low 90, mid 90 mark will be a 1 or 2 wild card seed, probably 2 if the other one's winning high 90s or 100, right? And the Braves are Mets. They will not squeak in like they did last year. My point was they come in third, but you just got to get invited to the dance. That is the point. And yet again, I do believe that the Phillies will be a wild card team that nobody wants to see. That's the bottom line. Right. I don't want to be that guy. I ain't coming out. You, George, they're one of the. They have a chance, man. They have a damn good chance. It is extremely difficult to get back there. So I'm going to take it week by week, month by month. The Phillies come out and start 10-2. Oh boy, you best believe I'm on the train with you. But let's get down the line a little bit before we crown them. All right.
I'll do that, but the goal is always the goal.
He said, all right, I'll do that, but they are winning the World Series.
But the goal is the goal, all right?
That's the most exciting part, right? Yeah. That is the most exciting part. If you go back to last year, you and I had high expectations for this team. Yeah. We didn't set World Series expectations.
Make the playoffs.
So regardless if you're George saying they are getting back, if you're me and saying they have a damn good chance, as much a chance as anybody, that's the bottom line. That's the excitement, is that they're in the conversation. Right? Yeah. Like, it is no longer the Braves and the Dodgers and whoever else, and then drop down and, maybe the Phillies can make the playoffs. No. The Philadelphia Phillies will make the goddamn playoffs.
It's so good.
It's so bottom line. You don't add Trey Turner and Taijuan Walker and those bullpen pieces to just bottom out and not do what you were capable of doing last year.
This ownership will not allow it. Like, if there's a certain point when it's the midway point and it's trade deadline season, they're gonna make the moves they have to make because this is still an all-in season. They're buying it.
I'm gonna tell you this right now: Bryce Harper plays more games this year than he did last year. And he's missing the first month and a half of the season.
Yep, it's we got a lot to look forward to. Remember, and Reese dampens it, but guess what? This team is still freaking incredible.
Bryce missed how many weeks with the thumb? Over 6.
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
7 or 8 weeks.
And you had the whole
I think it was 2 months
shot thing where, they gave him that shot on the West Coast trip when he was heating up, and then we didn't see him for over a week. Like, Bryce missed a lot of baseball last year. He only played 99 games. He will play over 100 games this year, even missing the beginning of the season.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like he's going to play more than he did last year.
All right, last topic of the night. Obviously, we went over win total, everything like that. George, you guys can check George with me on the pregame show at least Monday through Thursday this year. It'll be interesting. Maybe some Sunday through Thursday sounds a little bit better. Friday, Saturdays, you never know what's going on with the schedule, right? But I gotta ask you, lineup wise, what is your ideal lineup? Do we want to say pre and post Bryce?
I would
let's say tomorrow.
Yeah,
no
tomorrow.
Bryce. What is your opening day lineup looking like?
Trey has to slot lead off. There's no way around it. Schwarber has to bat second.
Mm-hmm.
JT has to bat third. You can't put him
Okay.
anywhere else, I don't think. I'm going Hall cleanup, and I'm going Costi 5.
Okay.
And then it's tough here. I think I'm going Boom and then Stott, but I think you can switch that up whatever way you want. I think you can go Stott and then Boom. And then bottom of the lineup, I'm going Marsh and then J. Cave.
You're missing
That's
one.
1, 2, 3. No, I'm not missing one.
Yeah.
Who am I missing?
Because if Hall's playing first base, you need a DH.
Yeah, Costi. And then J. Cave's going to be in the field.
Oh, you didn't say J. Cave, did you?
I said J. Cave 9. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. There's
I
the
was
one.
like, I don't think I'm missing anyone.
Spring training hero, Jake Cave.
I have Costi DH.
So now let's get to the interesting part. Bryce returns. Bryce is clearly your 3-hitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you do after that? I don't love JT in the 4. I never have. I didn't like it in the postseason.
Neither do I. I think at 4 you probably go Costi. I guess it depends on how everyone's looking, right?
That's very true. Costi could be on a tear.
Yeah. Is back, then you're slotting him 4. And then I think everything else kind of falls into place the same. You're keeping Boom and then Stott, and then you got Marsh. Yeah, I'm kind of keeping that about the same, I believe, because it all really depends on Castellanos. Like that's the biggest thing, and I know we keep hitting on it, but if Castellanos is back to his original form, I have no problem putting him up there. If he is slumping like he looks like the guy of last year, and he's swinging at sliders in the other box, and he's looking like a fool up there, damn, you don't have to bump Costi down to 7, right? Like 6, 7. Like I could easily see them doing that.
I'll tell you what the exciting thing is. Even if he still finds a way to let us down or look like he did last year, you still always on a night-to-night basis have the hope. Like Nick Castellanos is your 7-hole hitter. You know what I mean? Like even though he's not producing the way we want, he's still your 7-hole hitter. So the upside's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
The basement's 7, and he's not producing as well, but he has a chance, right? Yeah. But I agree with you, dude. I think he bounces back. I think the biggest thing for me was that he was able to acknowledge and admit it. He flat out came out and said he sucked last year, and why? It was all up here, and how focused he's been this offseason.
And I think getting that taste, being that guy, you go through that whole run, you go to the World Series, like you have to feel confident, right? Like you guys just did that. Everyone 1 through 9 should feel very, very good going into this season. Like I hate to say it, but like it does feel like momentum is on their side. It does.
Yeah. No,
and the Phillies also, I'll say, like throwing it out there, the Phillies being underdogs tomorrow, get the hell out of here, because DeGrom's going to be pulled in the 3rd with some type of tightness, and then like
that's exactly what Embo said.
Dude, did he really? Dude, it's like
he's gonna have like a hip impingement and have to come out.
I can see him. He's like, elbow tightness. He's out. Yeah. And Nola's rolling. It's
no, don't get me wrong. If DeGrom is DeGrom tomorrow, and that Rangers lineup is more fixed, and you have Simeon and you have Corey Seager, they're a good team over in the NL if they're healthy. But I agree with you. I think I'll talk about it tomorrow on the pregame show. So guys, don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's where all the Phillies pregame shows will be held live. Tomorrow, Aaron Nola, that's where it starts with. Like that is the bottom line. If the Rangers are able to find success early tomorrow on Nola, if the Phillies are down 3-1, 4-0 to start, that's a tough hole to climb out of with a healthy Jacob deGrom. So I need Nola to be healthy and on point tomorrow and at least get you through 6, right? But I'll talk about that tomorrow. Guys, don't forget, check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. For myself, for George, for DSM, have a great rest of your night. Come hang out with myself and Scotty on the YouTube channel at 6:15 to get you ready for Sixers Mavericks on DSM pregame live. See you then.
Go Phils.